Welcome everyone to today's masterclass, the success trap. When life, the one you built, worked so hard for, stops feeling like yours, or at least stops feeling like you're in control or you're free. This conversation is not about abandoning ambition, right? It's not about abandoning passion. It's not about settling for less. It's about understanding why so many successful entrepreneurs quietly or not so quietly feel disconnected, exhausted, restless, have these racing minds that don't allow them to sleep or find peace, where they feel emotionally unfulfilled, even after achieving all the things they thought would bring them happiness. Today, we're going deeper than strategy, right? Like, that's a lot of talk. We need to get to embodiment. We're going to explore subconscious programming, nervous system conditioning, identity attachment, emotional survival patterns, and those hidden, sneaky forces in your mind and body that shape the lives that most entrepreneurs create. Because many people don't realize success can become an unhealthy coping strategy, or sometimes an addiction. When achievement becomes identity, people stop knowing who they are on the outside, right? And they think that their identity, their worth, their value is tied to performance. That's not freedom. That's not authenticity. That is trapping yourself in a cage. And you're running on a hamster wheel in that cage. And you've lost the key. But today's masterclass is designed to help you find the key, to recognize the hidden patterns that are driving your life, understand why peace can feel uncomfortable, to reconnect with what truly matters, and begin creating success from alignment to what you really are and what you really want on the inside, instead of chasing it or feel like you're being chased and you have to survive. Real success, real transformation doesn't happen by adding more hustle or more pressure. It happens when you stop abandoning yourself to go chase something that's not for you. Not really. That next milestone is not for you if it's at the cost of your health. It's not for you if it's at the cost of your relationships. Today is about awareness, about truth, and about choice, and creating a life that finally feels like you chose it and it's loving to you. So let's dive in. There's a moment many entrepreneurs experience, right? That although there are some out there on Facebook now, most of them are just showing you the glass houses. They're not showing you some of the stuff that happens quietly or behind the scenes. It's not always during failure. It's not during even collapse. Ironically, what they might not show you or talk about often happens after success. They show you the success, they show you the money, they show you the, whatever it is they're doing, the number of widgets they're making or things that they own. They've hit the goal, they've built the company, they've got what looks like financial stability on the outside. People respect them, their calendar is full, and their life looks impressive. But inside, something feels off or missing. You can't always explain it. You just know. You don't feel as alive as you thought you would. And what makes it even harder is this. You feel guilty for feeling that way. I have somebody very close to me who once said, I felt depressed and unworthy of how I was feeling because when I looked around, other people had it harder than I did. And so I couldn't share. They felt alone and trapped, feeling they didn't have the excuses that they needed to say, oh, I feel sorry for myself. And then instead of feeling sorry for themselves, they felt super guilty and alone and ashamed because objectively life looked good, right? To others. Instead of slowing down and listening to what was coming up, maybe sharing, talking to somebody about it, think about what's actually happening internally where there is misalignment. Most entrepreneurs, I would say most humans, do what they've always done. They keep moving. More goals, more growth, more pressure, more hustle, more stimulation, more achievement. But eventually, the distractions, which is what those are, stop working. And that's where the deeper conversation begins. And usually then that's where either inspiration or desperation happens. Marriages fall apart. You had a great year, and then all of a sudden you got a bad year financially. There's some kind of strife because the distractions stop working. The alignment gets so off that your creator, the universe, wants to show you, hey, you're not listening to you, so let me give you something to wake up. Most people, most entrepreneurs were never actually taught how to build a life that feels aligned internally. Most people are never taught how to even tune in to who they are. We're taught who we should be, what we should feel, what it should look like. Most entrepreneurs were taught how to survive, how to achieve, how to perform, how to become valuable. And those are very different things than being aligned internally. A lot of performers unknowingly build their lives from survival patterns instead of truth. Things that they were conditioned to believe is thriving, but you can't thrive if you're not aligned to your truth. What do I mean by that? So think about it this way. For many people, success started as protection. Over and over again, I work with people who were striving for success because they didn't grow up with a lot, or they were in an abusive family, or they weren't the cool kid, or they couldn't buy what they wanted to buy. I don't know what it is for you, but many people, what you're trying to do, whether it's build a company or just have a certain amount of money or, a certain type of house, all these things, really underneath it all usually started from a sense of being unsafe and needing protection, shelter, security, consistency, stability. And you've been taught to believe that in order to have those things, I have to do these things outside of me. Right? Maybe achievement growing up meant approval, right? Getting good grades, making varsity, I don't know, whatever it was for you. Maybe it meant creating safety, right? Your parents or your community perhaps was trying to create so we had enough to be safe. Or maybe somebody modeled for you that being successful created significance, that somebody would respect you and value you. And then you could avoid rejection, avoid failure, avoid criticism, avoid feeling, quote unquote, not enough. So achievement stopped being something that you did for those things because you created a habit. And then you began to think it's your identity and who you are. That's the trap. It's not who you are. Your identity just became fused with performance. And when your identity becomes fused with it, connected, like it means it, like your worth and everything, if you slow down, if you don't do as well, then that starts to feel dangerous. Because if you think it's your identity, then you feel like you lose your identity, or you lose your sense of security, or you lose your sense of safety, and then rest becomes uncomfortable. Peace. Remember how I said peace might feel scary? It's so unfamiliar that then your mind says, wait, this isn't what I'm used to. I got to move. I got to do something. Something might go wrong because it's unfamiliar, not because that's true. And then anytime you're still, then you're like, oh, I'm not being productive. I laugh because this is the old pot calling the kettle black. Now I know in stillness is where I find my power. And stillness is where I restore. And then I have more creativity and more health and more energy and more passion. Because if you are feeling that way, my guess is you stopped asking, what do I really want? And instead, you're asking, what do I have to do next? That's why so many entrepreneurs live in this constant cycle of chasing, or like a lot of folks like to say, the season of the hustle. Not because they're bad people, not because ambition is wrong. Usually it's because the nervous system became conditioned to run on a fuel of pressure. And anything else didn't feel right because it wasn't normal for them. And I want us to think about this word normal. Somebody said the other day that they wanted to be normal. I said, I don't want you to be normal. Normal is not healthy. Look around. I want you to be you. So who are you? What actually makes you feel good? What fuel will make you feel alive? And that peaceful is peaceful, not scary. So if we're honest, like just ask yourself, do you really know who you are outside of your accomplishments or your role that you play in life? Gosh, I remember when I first realized that, it was terrifying. And for a lot of people, it can be a little scary. And so then guess what we do? We distract ourselves from that question and we just keep going. I've seen entrepreneurs who have built incredible businesses and secretly felt so disconnected, unhappy, and unworthy. And it caused problems in relationships. They couldn't feel joy. They couldn't be present. Even so, though they desperately wanted to be present, they just didn't know how. Not because they failed. Nope. They were just conditioned. They succeeded in a direction that didn't match what felt good to them. But they went so fast, they didn't know what hit them. So this is important. Sometimes a version of you that built the successful business is not the same version of you that wants to live your future, who you want to be as your future self. And then that's another trap, right? People feel like, well, I can't be different because if I'm different, then my business will fail. The person that got you to where you are is not going to be the person who gets you to where you want to be next. Man, am I glad I'm different than I used to be. And who I used to be wasn't me. It was who I thought I had to be, who I thought I should be because of conditioning. So who do you want to be? If you could be anybody you wanted to be, do anything you want to do, and you didn't have to get anybody's approval, it just felt good to you to be that way, that's who we're looking for. That's who this world needs. The unique version of you. So even though who you were and who you are before this next breath might have been necessary once in your life. A lot of people are like, oh, but if I wasn't that way, I wouldn't be here. And if I wasn't here, then la, 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 and all the excuses. I'm not saying it could have been any other way. It couldn't. The past isn't even real. It's gone. And as I say gone, gone is gone. The only thing that's real is right now. So great if what you did brought you some external success. Celebrate it. It doesn't have to go away as you grow into more of who you are. You might have thought, oh, but that helped me push through the difficult seasons. It helped protect me. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it jailed you. And eventually what once protected you can start imprisoning you, if it hasn't yet. Most people that I have the pleasure of going on a subconscious safari with find out that the very thing that their beautiful mind came up with to protect them had become their jailer. And they didn't need anybody else to find the key. They had it. I just had to help guide them to find it. So that's why entrepreneurs, right, feel trapped so often. But technically, they chose the life. They just didn't know it. Subconsciously, they built the lives to feel safe, respected, validated, worthy, and yet it's not fulfilling. Because if they built it to be fulfilling, it would look much, much different. And it's okay. It's okay. Start from today. Start from today. You don't have to struggle internally anymore. The people that are your people will still admire you, perhaps more. They will be able to rely on you if you want them to. They will still want to be around you if they're your people. And guess what? Your people will love you more because you will be more of you. You will fill your cup full and give from the overflow instead of emptying it out and keep giving out backwash. That's not you. You're better than the backwash. It's okay. I know you have felt pressure to maintain an image. I know you had to think all the time that you were the strong one, you were the provider, you were the leader, you were the one with the answers. I know. How we did that, though, has cost a lot. It's been exhausting, emotionally draining. Because when you are performing, but you're not enjoying it or feeling connected to it, it's going to drain you. And that's how you know when somebody is in the success trap. When they can no longer fully enjoy what they worked so hard to create. Do you ever find yourself at dinner checking emails? On vacation, thinking about work? Maybe with family or loved ones, but physically, but mentally, you're somewhere else. Or maybe you're always anticipating the next thing. You can't really sleep peacefully because your nervous system never turns off. It's stuck in fight, flight, or freeze. And if you can't switch from that to restore and to rest, your body will start speaking loudly to you. Through dis-ease or disease, your mind will say, I don't want to live this way anymore. And it's usually there. A lot of us were taught to ignore the whisper until we can't anymore. And it becomes burnout, or what people call anxiety. Your body is just like constantly feeling like it's got to be in fear or in fight, right? Talk to my tribe today about this. Pressure in your chest, feeling tense, feeling stuck, your heart racing, not being able to sleep, not being able to be present, not being able to have safety in relationships. That's when it gets loud. But there's really good news. Whether you're listening to the whisper or you're getting screamed out by your life or your body, awareness can change everything. Because once you begin seeing these patterns, right, you're not unconscious anymore. You're not trapped anymore unknowingly. You might still feel trapped, but now you know you are. And now you know, because you are who you are, you're going to find the key. You're going to ask for help. You're going to get it done. Because you're smart. You're wise. You have a purpose and you're meant for more. So now I want you to ask some deeper questions. We're starting to wake up. And sometimes it's hard to find the key and get out if you don't know where you want to go. How many people suffer because at least I know what I'm in for here. I don't want to try and explore something else because that could be worse. So they prefer the suffering of the known over the uncertainty of the unknown. But I'm telling you, the unknown is where it's at once you guide yourself. So ask yourself, what actually matters to me right now? Write that down. What actually matters to me right now? Write all these questions down, and I want you to sit with them, and I want you to reach out if you want to talk about them. You can talk to me, schedule some time, unlocklimitlessyou.com/call, or just email joy@unlocklimitlessyou. You are not alone, and you do not have to stay stuck. Next thing I want you to ask yourself, what kind of life would feel, I say aligned, what kind of life, what would it look like without limits? What would feel like I'm in my flow? What kind of life would I lead where I'm thinking, work doesn't feel like work. It feels like a calling. It feels enjoyable. It's possible. I'm living proof. And there's so many others out there that are too. Once we had the courage and we asked for help, we got the help and we got there. And we're staying here. We're going to keep going up. We're going to love life more. We're going to have more of an impact. We're going to help more people do the same. I want you to think about this question. What am I chasing and why? And ask yourself why several times on that one. You can go a little cute little template, getting to the root of it. You go to unlocklimitlessyou.com/resources or / I think root. Anyway, if you go to the resources, there's a free resource. You can just download it, and it walks you through to get to this deeper understanding of what is really driving you, so that you make sure that you're steering in the right direction. And ask yourself, do I feel alive in my own life? Like, do you really feel like you're living? Or do you just feel like you're getting by or surviving each day? Ask yourself, am I living and creating my life from inspiration or fear? Holy mackerel, Andy. That's a big one. Daily, I have to check myself. When I feel off, and that sometimes happens with teenage boys, and something doesn't feel right, I have to look close. Am I parenting from fear? Well-intentioned fear, but yet fear. And then guess what? It's not working for me and it's not working for them. Same thing is true in business. Am I doing this because I'm afraid if I don't, something bad will happen? Or am I doing it because I love it and I'm inspired? That's going to feel different. What would success look like if peace mattered too? I don't think a lot of people have peace in their business strategy, their mission statement, their company culture. Wow. What if we did? How would you redefine your success if peace was a part of it? Not when you retired, not when you made however many millions or billions, but now. Those questions can change everything, my friends. And this doesn't mean abandoning ambition. My goal for you is not less success. My goal for you is success that feels good. Not just for a little bit, but in your bones, aligned to your spirit, to your soul. Success where peace is possible, where you can breathe, you can feel, you can be present, you can do what you want to do when you want to do it with who you want to do it. That actually works out. When you can enjoy your relationships, you can actually build the relationships, deep ones, healthy ones. You can rest without guilt. And you can experience peace without needing chaos, hustling to feel alive. You feel alive just being peaceful, present, passionate, creative, loving, kind. Real freedom is not just financial. Nope. It's all facets of your life, including the one inside of you, the one you can't, see when you open on an operating table, like your essence, who you are. You're not your body. You're not your mind. You. It's waking up and feeling excited and connected to you, to your life. Often entrepreneurs who I know who are the happiest are the ones who have gotten this, the ones that have stopped abandoning themselves in the process of external achievements. They still have the external achievements, but they're no longer abandoning themselves. They're no longer getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep of night. They're no longer overweight. They're no longer unhappy in their relationships. They're no longer doing anything that's harmful to them. That's the shift. Not how do I do more? How do I accomplish more? But how do I be me? How do I create a life that feels good, not just looks good? As we close today, I want you to remember this. Success was never meant to cost you your peace. You were never meant to spend your entire life proving your worth through pressure, performance, or achievement. Real success is not just building a business. It's building a life that actually feels good, inside and out, fulfilling, aligned to who you are and who you want to become. And the beautiful part is the moment you become aware of the subconscious patterns that have been driving your life, and oh, by the way, that's not your fault, you gain back the power to create new ones that serve you, ones that bring you more peace, more presence, more connection, more freedom. Thank you for being here today. And if you're ready to go deeper and discover what are these patterns shaping my life, my relationships, my business, my success, and how do I change them? Come on a subconscious safari with me. Go to unlocklimitlessyou.com/call and let's get started. You're not alone, and there's so much more. Until then, take care.